This is footage of Stephen Miller from 2003. I don't know how old he is. It seems like it's on a high school
17.
bus or a college bus. Okay. Yeah.
I've been reading, the reason I put this in there is because I've been kind of skimming through Jean Guerrero's book, Hate Monger, Stephen Miller, Donald Trump, and the White Nationalist Agenda. You had her on like right before I joined the show.
Oh, was it that long ago? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like it's a book about his background and how he was such a virulent racist, specifically about Latinos, growing up in a high school that had a lot of Latino classmates in Southern California. And there's just like, you see the origins of that hatred even then. So that's why this clip kind of just stuck out to me here.
Also, I think the thing to pay attention to is the reception he's getting, because I think this is the story of Stephen Miller. Think of a guy who is who's probably, socially ostracized. And think of this response. This reminds me of that Errol Morris film. Was it Mr. Death or Dr. Death? I can't remember, but play this.
Of the Iraqi civilians. I think that as many of them should survive as possible, because the goal of any military conflict is to kill as few people as possible. But as for Saddam Hussein and his henchmen, I think the ideal solution would be to cut off their fingers. I don't think it's necessary to kill them entirely. We're not a barbaric people. We respect life. Therefore, torture is the way to go. Because torture people can live. Torture is a celebration of life and human dignity. We need to remember that as we enter these very dark and dangerous times in the next century. And I only hope that many of my peers and people who will be leading this country will appreciate the value and respect that torture shows towards other cultures. To the issue of the Iraqis.
I mean, the laughter he's getting.
Yeah, you see it building his strength.
Totally. And this is what what draws that. The film is Dr. Death. And it's the same thing, same sort of dynamic where a guy who, is not, is just seeking some type of like reinforcement and feedback. And that's the people laughing at Stephen Miller back then. I would hope that they're like, we shouldn't have laughed at him. We shouldn't have encouraged him in any way, because this is what led him on this, it gave him his momentum in some ways.
Guerrero writes that he was kind of like average in popularity. He did play some sports. He did start to lose his hair all the way in high school. So at least, that happened to him, fortunately for us. But he was also seemingly obsessed with harassing Latina girls in his school who were a part of clubs where they would sometimes speak Spanish. And there were numerous anecdotes that she collects in her book of that being the case, and that being particularly animating to him. She also, in the book, interviews a Latino friend of his that cut off ties because of the things that Miller had said, and how racist he was. And then there's that old clip we've seen of him shrieking about how we shouldn't have to pick up our trash because we have janitors that will do it for us. This is a guy that gets off on seeing people humiliated and seeing people in pain. He's a sadist, and he makes that clear in that clip right there, to the laughter, of course, of the students, which I think also reflects like what our country was like in the aftermath of 9/11.
Yep.
But when we're talking about him calling the shots right now for Donald Trump, who's ailing and old and lazy, he just articulated the alligator Alcatraz thing.
We have that in the sound sheet.
You do have that? I mean,
yeah. Let's play this. I mean, there's a couple of things in this clip. Steve Miller's on with Jesse Waters. There's a couple of things in here that are just blatant lies. But it's the same thing they did with Guantanamo.
Yeah.
Let's just remember this. Rush Limbaugh was selling Club Gitmo merchandise and claiming that this was like a Caribbean vacation they were taking. Here's Stephen Miller on with his good buddy Jesse Waters.
Stephen Miller, is there an internment camp in the Everglades, Miller?
There is an ICE facility that provides a far superior level of housing and accommodation than is available to millions of Americans who are living in Section 8 housing and other low-income areas of our own blighted cities, like Baltimore, like Detroit, like Chicago. How many Americans are living in abominable conditions compared to the pristine conditions of our ICE facilities and our Border Patrol facilities? Look, at every turn, illegal aliens have always been treated better than Americans. The difference is, in this administration, they're getting a ticket out of America so that we can take care of our own people. Do you have any idea how many resources will be opened up for Americans when the illegals are gone? No more waiting in line at an emergency room? No more massive traffic in Los Angeles? Your health insurance premiums go down? Your public school classroom size will shrink dramatically? They have more time to educate every student? You won't have to compete for public benefits? If you're down on your luck, you're having a hard time, and you do need to get support from the government, you're not going to be in line behind millions of illegal aliens from the third world. This is going to be such a gift to the quality of life of everyday Americans, Jesse. It's hard to even express the wonders that await for working people.
Well, I mean, you had me at no traffic in L.A. If you guys can get that message broadcast loud and clear over there, okay, I mean, I think you'll have a lot.
His O'Reilly impression is so annoying, but let's just go through these things. I mean, aside from the fact that we know the conditions in this detention center in Florida are abysmal to the extent that we've gotten any word out of it.
It flooded a week after they built it.
Attorneys can't even reach their clients for the most part. And the people who we play that clip from Maxwell Frost, and that was after they had 4 days to clean it up. But as far as like undocumented people, meaning that you don't have to wait at the ER or there'll be no traffic in LA, health premiums are going to go down. Health premiums are about to shoot up dramatically from that big bill they just passed. The ACA subsidies were cut back. And because... So people going into the marketplace are going to lose the subsidies that additional subsidies they got from COVID. On top of that, we now know that insurance companies are looking for up to a 15% increase in rates because of the anticipation of cuts from Medicaid. And the subsidies. They're going to lose people in the marketplace. When you lose people who are paying for health insurance, insurance rates go up, not down. Insurance gets cheaper when you have more people in the system. That is just a basic law of essentially physics. The idea that school size is going to be impacted by this. Schools are given funds as a function of the number of students that are there. What's far more likely is in some areas, low-income areas, you're going to see schools close because of this. As far as public benefits, you're not competing against people for things like SNAP or Medicaid because you are eligible up until this bill based upon your income levels. So it doesn't matter what the person next to you is making. Your income levels are what make you eligible for these type of public benefits. I mean, these are all lies. They're all lies that Miller is proposing, but it's also twisted.
I mean, this is exactly what the Nazis argued would be the outcome if they were to remove Jews from Germany. Economic prosperity for you. We'll have this sort of revival of German heritage, of culture. It will be this sort of like racially pure utopia. That is exactly what he's saying. It's completely aligned with that rhetoric. That's how dangerous this is. And I mean, the amount of lies, it's difficult to keep track, but just at the beginning, he talks about Baltimore being this hellhole. Baltimore has been steadily increasing, like in terms of safety, and the community is on the upswing again. Just reported a week or so ago that the Baltimore homicide rate has fallen to a 50-year low at this point. So he's just lying and using and stoking racism to support that lie.
I mean, you see this so much, like was it Mark Andreessen talking about blaming multiculturalism for basically all the problems created by capitalism and how it's allocated resources. But in terms of traffic, New York actually just did something to lower traffic in the city, and it's made everything better. And it wasn't get the Gestapo to make the white demographic seem larger in comparison to everyone else. It was congestion pricing.
Right. It was taxing people who have the means above a certain income threshold to commute into the city via car. And it's had such dramatic improvements on air quality and traffic that it's shot up in terms of popularity and success, because this isn't going to have an impact except to ruin millions of lives by using this Gestapo tactic on regular Americans, or not regular Americans, but everyday Americans' lives who aren't going to be directly impacted by it. It has a shelf life because people are going to figure out that this doesn't do anything to materially improve my life.
Yep.
It's just cruelty for the sake of things. But they're hoping that their kind of movement of anti-democracy is enough to sustain it over the fact that realization will eventually come.
Sorry, it wasn't Andreessen. It was venture capitalist Paul Graham who said, in retrospect, one of the things that allowed wokeness to become so powerful at its peak was the decline of journalism as an industry. The kind of people who undertook its institutional capture in 2010 mostly couldn't have gotten hired in 1980. So it's just the woke culture that took over journalism. That's the real problem.
Why are we letting other people besides white men get these jobs? Of course, we're starting to get a wide variety of stories. That's the problem. We went woke. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.